Hello everybody, welcome back to Ghostly French Toast. And today we're going to be doing a Titanfall Apex lore video. So, in today's video it's going to be about Hammond Robotics and how it plays a part in Apex lore and Titanfall lore. So, grab your Titan and grab your squad and let's dive on in. So, let's start out what Hammond Robotics is. It's a company in the Titanfall Apex universe that is basically manufactures goods and all that. What they specifically manufacture is Titans, Titans and all that, machines of war basically. They made such things as Reapers, Stalkers that are in both Titanfall and Apex, since we see the Stalkers in the Season 5 trailer, cinematic trailer. So, that's interesting. Hammond Robotics basically sided with the IMC during the Frontier Wars, and basically what that was basically the IMC wanted to take control of the Frontier after they left the Frontier to their own kind of deal, and the IMC didn't really like that, so the IMC came back and the militia was formed to fight against it. So lovely. What they basically did for the IMC was basically fund the war. They basically, if they pulled out, IMC would collapse, but they stayed. Hammond Robotics stayed with them for most of the war, and basically they gave them Titans, Reaper, Stalkers, basically anything to fight. That's basically what they did, and fund the war. Let's talk about Hammond Robotics. Hammond Robotics was founded many years before the Frontier War itself, and it was founded by a man named Hammond. And Hammond is 650 years old. We're gonna get back to that later. Don't forget it. And there's kind of a faction, if you want to call it like that, in the Titanfall for Hammond Robotics. It's the Marvin, because they created Marvin and all that. So if you wanted to call that, but just felt like I should point that out. Apex lore. I feel like this is going to be important, because this is why I said remember 650. So Hammond Robotics, right? Hammond Robotics is basically playing a big role season 4 and onwards in the Apex universe. So they basically, at the end of season 3, they started putting up signs of that they're going to start building things in basically the Apex world's edge. And they kind of discuss. I'll get back to this later. So they built the Harvester, which is basically sending materials off into an unknown location for an unknown goal, which I kind of have a theory, but we're going to get that into the theory section at the end of the video. The Harvester, if you watch my Harvester video, which I'll put a link in the description to it, which is basically it's basically a smaller version of the one that you see in Frontier Defense. So they started building the Harvester, right? And then they announced their first sponsored legend, which is Forge and all that. We all know what happens when Forge gets killed by Revenant, which is a Hammond Robotics simulacrum. And that's my here. I'm just gonna tell you right now. I remember reading a theory back on a Reddit post where we learned that someone speculated that Hammond is actually Revenant, because Hammond Robotics has basically made simulacrums. They basically invented them. So why wouldn't the leader of Hammond Robotics become a simulacrum? And we know that Hammond Robotics is starting to go downhill, but then they got the sponsor of Forge. And the Syndicate and all that, putting him in the Apex game, paying a large amount of money. So, why wouldn't it make sense that he would upload himself after he died, because he's 650 years old? But I kind of see this, and he uploaded himself in this Revenant. But I kind of see this theory as not really substantial, because we know what he looks like, and we know that Hammond Robotics basically brainwashed him into basically murdering everyone. Revenant is basically like a little drone. Now we go back to King's Canyon. We know in King's Canyon that they have Stalker labs, and we know that basically the research division of Hammond Robotics basically had a lab there where they basically made tech, all that fun stuff. And so they came back to Kings Canyon after Lobo destroyed the entire facility under Skulltown. And we now see facilities all across the map of Hammond Robotics. Basically how much they've got their hands into Kings Canyon, into the Apex games. And now on to my main theory. I feel like Hammond Robotics is trying to take over the Apex games. My theory is because in the system override event, if you read the description of basically the event itself, you basically learn that Hammond Robotics is testing out robotics, the skins, but lore-wise, the robotic versions, they're simulacrums of the Apex Legends themselves. So my guess, Hammond Robotics is trying to get their hands deep, basically, into the Apex games because that has like a big battle in the Outlands. So I'm like, hey, that would make sense because Hammond Robotics is basically the biggest company in the IMC. Not the IMC, the entire, basically, galaxy at the moment. So that's just a theory, a game theory. I think that's it for this time. See you next time. Everyone stay safe with all this corona and rioting and all that. Stay safe, protest and all that. Stay safe, everyone. See you next time on Ghostly French Shows. Bye.